Hi, this is Kimberly. So, I don't know where to put this in my video, so I'm just going to put it at the beginning. And then I'll start with the video and it'll be in stark contrast. You'll see what I mean in a moment, but please forgive me if it seems to be in bad taste. I don't mean it that way. Or abrupt. Very quickly, I would just like to say that if you're familiar with Mommy Rambling's blog channel, she lost her son and she of course is devastated. And if you could go and show her some kind words, if you were so inclined, that would be awesome. Much love and peace. Hi, this is Kimberly. Yeah. It's been a few days since I posted a video where I'm running my mouth. I did a couple of videos where I don't talk so I can give it a rest. By that I mean give it a rest from talking shit on T in an antagonizing way, blaming her, launching verbal attacks. But rest is over now. Mother's Day is here. She no longer has the privilege of having a hand in raising Gannon and Lena. I would like to indicate a high level of frustration. I've been having difficulty in quarreling with this bloody damn blasted, flaming, confounded, wretched, flipping, shitty, sodding, pissant, solemn declaration. I'm talking about the stupid ass arrest affidavit. And I had lost my composure and shit. Why must I torture myself so? Oh yeah, I always tell myself when I give myself a good talking to that it wards off dementia and shit. Let's begin, shall we? This is getting ridiculous. Today I'll be going over day 3 of Gannon Stauch being reported as missing and a runaway from his Colorado Springs home on January 27, 2020. Day 3 of this case is January 29th. And mind you, Gannon was not a runaway. That was a lie spoken by his stepmother that has chronic diarrhea. He was actually allegedly murdered by his depraved, villainous stepmother, Letecia Stauch, arrestee Grouch. Allegedly and for entertainment purposes only. Isn't that the spiel they all say so as not to get sued? After all, she's not been found guilty yet, but I would say El Paso Sheriff's Office pretty much says, yeah, she is guilty. From reading the blasted arrest affidavit, it seems they're pretty set on her being guilty, and I'm in agreement, strongly and all vigorously and shit. Be that as it may, this is still alleged and shit. However, even though PISA is the lowest form of life, she will receive her citizens' entitlement of fair treatment through the normal judicial system. I do feel confident all charges against her will be proven beyond a shadow of a doubt in a court of law, hopefully sometime this year, so we can get on with her lifetime sentence and shit. Or worse. These charges brought against her piece of shit Grouch include, and are not limited to, unlawfully causing the death of Gannon Stauch related to murder in the first degree of a child under 12 years of age in a position of trust, tampering with physical evidence, child abuse resulting in death, tampering with a deceased human body, plus an abundance of other arrestables. Do you see why I hate this horrid bitch? She's being held without bond currently. I hope she's settling in quite nicely to jail/prison life. It will soon be proven to be her forever home. Let's move on to January 29th, 2020, day 3 of gathering facts in support of probable cause to apprehend and arrest this hot mess, Letecia Stauch Hunt Harden Grouch, for the savage and horrific murder of our little boy Blue, G-Man Gannon Stauch. Bullshitty's extreme ineptitude and incompetence reared its ugly bobblehead, showing piece of shit's failure, not only as a human being, but more specifically as a stepmother, wife, friend, employee, citizen, and so on and so forth and what have you. I want to go over her employment situation first. I'm confused as to why Batty called off of work with her outrageous story. This is because I'm finding conflicting news stories online. Some say that she had already been let go from her job prior to the weekend of Al leaving for his military trip. Perhaps this is why she used the story of her stepfather being killed so that she could tell Al that, well, I took the entire week off, for the funeral and shit. And that's what I told my employer and shit, in case Gannon is sick all week and shit. Bullshit, bitch. In January, Letecia Stauch was going through orientation for a job at Mountain Ridge Middle School in the Academy School District 20 when her employment offer was rescinded. She previously taught elementary school in the Westfield District at French Elementary, where she taught from August until November of 2019. One news story states that Grouch started orientation at Mountain Ridge Middle School on January 22, 2020, and that 2 days later the district notified her that they would no longer be hiring her. Officials at District 20 say they pulled her job offer after the reference checks revealed inconsistencies on her resume. Imagine that. District 20 says the extent of piece of shit's time on campus included meetings with administrators and teachers, and that she was around children on campus. They say Pisa worked at the Whitefield School District in southern El Paso County in 2019. Let's review a bit of Nasty's history. Pisa bitch has a criminal past. Investigators say she was convicted after a trial for communicating threats, which are a misdemeanor. She was also sentenced to 45 days confinement and 18 months of probation for unauthorized use of a motor vehicle. In other words, she stole a goddamn car. Piece of shit's teaching certificate in South Carolina was suspended in 2016. School officials say that Faulty breached her contract by, quote, engaging in unprofessional conduct, willfully neglecting her duty, and failing to comply with provisions of her contract, end quote. The officials added that piece of shit had filed unsubstantiated claims of harassment and retaliation from a relative of Gannon's biological mother who worked for the district. The story that I believe to be true is Difficulty was going through an orientation process the week before Gannon was reported quote-unquote missing. This orientation was from January 22nd to the 24th to become a teacher at Mountain Ridge Middle School in the Academy 20 district. They said they conducted a background check of Grouch, but ultimately they did not follow through with the hire because her reference checks, quote, revealed inconsistent information. A memo from the district to parents of students stated, quote, when any employee is hired in Academy District 20, we conduct a full background check, including a CBI review, which revealed Mrs. Stauch was eligible for hire. Additional due diligence and reference check revealed inconsistent information, end quote. Her employment offer was rescinded on January 29th, and of course this is the day we will be talking about in this video, which is why I brought up all this teacher bullshit. It seemed to make sense and flow at the time, and now not so much. However, upon further reflection, as I'm editing this video, it is important because the initial report, as I remember it, and it's still in some old news stories, was that piece of shit lost her job on that Friday the 24th, therefore went into the weekend all pissed off about it and shit. And that's actually not the case. Friday the 24th is the last day she worked, however, because she did call off on Monday saying that her stepfather had been run over by a car, which happened years ago. I guess with it being a new job and training, she needed a really good excuse for not being to work. But this was so she could, as she said, stay home with Gannon, who was having stomach troubles that day. But she was let go on Wednesday, even though Friday the 24th is the last day she worked. But back to where I left off. If this isn't all sequential and shit, forgive me. Again, forgive me. Y'all know how I get. Well, I do my best, and this disorderly arrest affidavit has sent my ability to concentrate into a tailspin. Let's commence. 4:16 a.m. Pisa did a Google search. Quote, police steps for our runaway. End quote. I guess she thought if she kept searching Google as Gannon having been a runaway, it would make it true. Damn delusional, isn't she? 9 a.m. The rental of the white Kia Rio occurred. Pisa bitch was picked up by someone driving a white Jetta, presumably her daughter Harley. Investigators were unable to confirm that Harley was driving the Jetta, but it is her primary vehicle, and her historical cell phone site location from her cell phone records support her phone was in that area at that time. So, if it looks like a duck and quacks like a duck, it is concluded that Harley was likely driving the Jetta that picked up Pisa bitch. 11:30 a.m. Surveillance video catches the Tiguan at the car wash. They make it sound like the car just showed up all by itself at the car wash. Or maybe that's just how it seems to me. Never mind. Video footage was recovered that shows a partial view of a car wash located at East Platte Avenue and Bonfoy Avenue in Colorado Springs, Colorado, USA. God bless America. There was likely visible blood on the rear end of this Tiguan, which is why she felt the need to disinfect her car before going in for her interview with law enforcement. This video captured a portion of a black SUV consistent with a VW Tiguan at or about 11:30 a.m. on January 29, 2020, the day in question, at the car wash. The time and location are consistent with raw data obtained from the Tiguan's computer system. Let's talk about Pisa's beloved car, the Tiguan. It was seized from her on this day that we are discussing, January 29, 2020. Aww. Well, we aren't really discussing. Y'all are sitting here listening while you fold laundry or something, and I'm just nattering on about it. However, the Volkswagen Tiguan is important to investigators because they believe it was used to transport the remains of Gannon from the Stauch residence to a location where Gannon's body was left. The definitive locations of the Tiguan are unknown to investigators during the time period of approximately 7:02 p.m. on the night before, which was January 28, 2020, until approximately 1200 hours on January 29, 2020, which just so happens to be when she, of course, went in for her questioning. Investigators were able to remove a computer chip from piece of shit's Volkswagen Tiguan, which was examined by the FBI. They were able to recover data which included, but is not limited to, the estimated location of the vehicle, specifically related to the evening of January 28, 2020, and the morning of January 29, 2020. The VW Tiguan, known to be leased and utilized by piece of shit, was backed into the garage when El Paso Sheriff's Office was at the residence. The position of the Tiguan in the garage is significant, specifically because of the confirmed presence of Gannon's blood in the garage below the area where the rear hatch of the Tiguan would be. That was pretty damn ballsy of her to do that, to have the police come out and having Gannon right there in her trunk in the garage. She just thought she was invincible. She probably still thinks that. Well, she's not. And the later finding of a positive reaction of Blue Star reagent indicating the likely presence of blood on the Tiguan's rear bumper. Additionally, the raw data has particular limitations, including the inability to show the exact location of the vehicle. For example, if the Tiguan were taken off-road, the raw data may not show that and display the estimated location on the nearest road. After El Paso Sheriff's Office investigators investigators seized the Tiguan on January 29, 2020. Piece of shit obtained a 2020 Nissan Altima. Investigators applied for and were granted a search warrant by the court to install a GPS tracker on that vehicle. 12 p.m. Piece of bitch arrives at the El Paso Sheriff's Office for a voluntarily scheduled interview with detectives located in downtown Colorado Springs, Colorado. She drags her ass in 2 hours late. The Tiguan, Piece's vehicle, was wet and appeared to have been recently cleaned when she arrived. Although she spoke with investigators on the phone several times, she was evasive, avoided speaking with investigators one-on-one, and did not want investigators coming to her home. And she was difficult to track down. Well, yeah, she zooms all over the damn place and keeps people guessing. She must have long-lasting batteries like the Energizer Bunny. But finally, Monstrosity willingly took her grand shit show to the El Paso Sheriff's Office. The interview was audio and video recorded. I am anxiously awaiting to see that. Inability's statements are reasonably categorized as untruthful, incomplete, and misleading. Piece of shit brings several pieces of notebook paper with her, with written notes for her interview with the detectives, which they noted as highly unusual. Educatee asked investigators if she could just read her notes. They said, hell no, nope, no way, not gonna happen. Teabag was let down. She had worked hard on this newest pack of lies. During the interview, she did refer to her essay, though investigators were not able to seize these documents. The detective said, quote, I have conducted hundreds of interviews of subjects, victims, and witnesses. It is extremely rare for an individual to bring notes to an interview, end quote. Well, she's a storyteller, a fibber, teller of tall tales, fabricator, an anecdotist, yarn spinner, perjurer, a scribe. Remember now, we've talked a lot about scribes. Oops, let's just return to the drama and sheer insanity of Wednesday's shit show event involving copious amounts of fail, irregularity, lied to investigators on multiple occasions, and exhibited abnormal behavior. Her statements were labeled untruthful, incomplete, and misleading. Have they not been informed of her chronic, compulsive, incessant liarrhea? Bitch has never had a relationship with the truth. Her interview was audio and video recorded. Again, can't wait to see that shit. In general, promiscuity drastically departed from her initial statements given to El Paso Sheriff's Office deputies regarding the report of Gannon's disappearance. In a nutshell, the account of Faulty reiterating she had been held at gunpoint and raped by a Hispanic male she knew only as a Gardo, and that Gannon was abducted by that male after he finished raping her. Are you kidding me? Sadly, no. Her stories of what happened that day are honestly foolish and display a lack of common sense or intelligence on her part. The interviewing detectives considered her statements false based on investigative history of prior sexual assault cases. This was Liaria's account. Well, one of them. Pisa said she arrived home at around 2:30 p.m. on Monday, January 27, 2020. She disarmed her security system and then went into the basement. Why would she go straight to the basement? Perhaps to see if her new amigo Egg had repaired the carpet. Yes, that's it. But wait, she only gave him the code to the garage. How was he gonna then go into the house with the alarm activated? Please, never give someone you've just met the code to your garage. That's odd. Shit, back to the story. She said that a Gardo was in the basement, attacked her, and pointed a gun at her. She said that after a Gardo held her at gunpoint, he then allowed her to go upstairs to greet her stepdaughter Lena, who had just arrived home from school. Pisa claims she then ordered Lena outside to ride her bicycle. I want to ride my bicycle. I want to ride my bicycle. I want to ride my bike. Bicycle, bicycle. Have y'all ever heard that song by Queen? God, I miss them, most especially the mastermind Freddie Mercury. He was an absolute genius. I could go on and on about him, but I'm expected to talk about this damn arrest affidavit, and I'm probably losing several viewers with each passing minute that just don't have patience with me. That hurts my feelings. I know I'm a handful, but damn. If you have the fortitude to hang with me, well, sometimes I can be all discerning and delightful and shit. Well, hell's bells. I'm rolling thunder, the pouring rain, boom, boom, boom. I'm coming on like a hurricane. Sorry, my undiagnosed ADD is in full force today. Okay, so Pisa went upstairs to welcome Lena home from school, and then sent her outside in the cold to ride her bicycle. Well, it wasn't all that cold. The high that day was 47. I'm the rolling thunder, the pouring rain, boom, boom, boom. I'm coming on like a hurricane. That was very nice and decent of Egg to let her go greet her stepdaughter when she came home from school, since he let her leave the basement of the home and go upstairs without following her. Why the hell didn't she run for help or call 911 once she had broken free of the armed intruder? Chatty returned to the basement so Egg could pick up where he left off. She asserts that Egg vaginally penetrated her against her will between 3:30 p.m. and 4:30 p.m. She also reveals that during the onslaught, Gannon jumped on Egg's back, and then the asshole threw him across the room. At the conclusion, Egg held a gun to Gannon and rudely requested a suitcase from T. Why am I even repeating this nonsense? I wonder if she was able to squeeze out a couple of tears while she was recanting this wild-ass, uncultivated, frenzied, insane, tall tale, anecdote, chronicle, bullshit, horseshit. The piece of shit presented him with a brown suitcase and a cardboard box. I wonder what the cardboard box was for. The investigators said she hid and wove in bits of truth in her falsehoods. Egg attempted to sexually assault her again, but she doesn't know what the hell happened, given that she hit her empty bobblehead and blacked the fuck out again. Investigators noted no injuries on Liability's head during their contact with her. She is the queen of the crazy parade. Of even more significance, Piece of Bitch said she cleaned up the area where this alleged attack had happened. Is she one of those people that have, oh, I better tidy up, company is coming over? Company being the deputies. Fuck's sake. She straightened up signs of disturbances in Gannon's room and cleaned up the utility room. Investigators recovered cleaning supplies, such as carpet brushes, which contained suspected carpet fibers. And I submit that immorality did, in fact, clean something up, but it was the murder scene of our hero Gannon, and not a sexual assault. You know, I realized today that Pisa is in the middle of the word special, and she is special, isn't she? A special person who makes completely self-absorbed bad decisions that result in very bad personal consequences and personal failure. This type of special person typically does really bad self-destructive things solely as a means of getting attention. Her special activities usually involve doing something very mean to and bad to someone else for attention. This type of special person suffers from low self-esteem and can be defined as a loser. Piece of special shit. Towards the end of the interview, Piece of special shit said she wanted to leave, to go home, get out of there. Farewell, goodbye, so long, adios, see you later, ciao, night-night, bye-bye. But she didn't say any of this shit. She just ducked out of there. Vamoose. Investigators want it to be known that they did feed and water liar ass during that interview. Investigators seized her cell phone and detained her while they applied for a search warrant to obtain DNA collection. Integrity began stuffing tissues in her pants and said she was having chest pains and shortness of breath. Investigators immediately requested medical assistance, and paramedics from Colorado Springs Fire Department arrived. Conformity was not expecting that swift move. After speaking with detectives on January 29, 2020, Piece of Shit departed to be ferried to a local hospital in Colorado Springs. She didn't have any transportation because they had impounded her car. Disability was transported for medical attention. Piece of Bitch was accompanied by detectives during this ride to the hospital. Unlike appropriate responses to questions at the El Paso Sheriff's Office by paramedics, during the ambulance ride, Chatty became unresponsive to the questions by medical personnel. I guess she was pissed off being called out on her chest pain bullshit. I just love the sound she makes when she shuts up. Disability seemed to have a miraculous recovery just as soon as they arrived at the hospital. The ambulance ride was audio recorded. More potential discovery if they ever release it to us. Well, of her being silent while they ask questions. Feisty received medical care at the hospital, and the details of that care is not included in this affidavit for medical privacy reasons. Batty continued evasive behavior at the hospital, but particularly after investigators told her they were going to detain her pending the issuance of a search warrant to collect her DNA. Ultimately, the search warrant for the collection of non-testimonial evidence was signed and executed. A second warrant for the compelled SANE exam, SANE, was initially authorized by this court, but then was squashed by the court. To be clear, QT did not allow a SANE exam to be completed. Initially, I thought, well, damn, if you're not going to obtain anything sane about her. However, I looked it up because I like to be all precise and shit. And this is what I found, quote, a sexual assault nurse examiner, SANE, S-A-N-E, is a qualification for forensic nurses who have received special training to conduct sexual assault evidentiary exams for rape victims. SANE nurses are specially trained in the medical, psychological, and forensic examination of a sexual assault victim. So, sexual assault nurse examiner, SANE, and I got this from Wikipedia. When investigators asked Insecurity if she would undergo a sexual assault forensic exam, she declined the offer. She was like, no thank you. Investigators were critical of the rape story because she had waited 2 days before reporting it to police. I think she's developed a crush on this imaginary egg. She also, quote-unquote, refused to cooperate with investigators by providing more evidence about the alleged incident, the affidavit said. Investigators said Stauch's story dramatically changed multiple times over the following days. Furthermore, PISA did not want to pursue collecting evidence that might assist law enforcement in identifying and finding the supposed rapist. Pantee did not have any life-threatening issues and signed herself out prior to all of the exams being completed. Monstrosity was not in custody after the warrant was executed at the hospital and left the hospital without telling investigators. Although her behavior is not illegal, as pressure continued to increase from investigators, Faulty became more and more desperate to leave the hospital, likely because she feared being caught in her web of lies about being held at gunpoint, raped, and that Gannon was abducted by aliens. I mean a Hispanic man named Edgardo on the day Gannon quote-unquote disappeared. Oh yeah, and Piece of Shit said Gannon fought back against the bad man inside their home before immorality hit her head and passed the fuck out again. Therefore, she has no fucking idea what in blazes happened after that. So, when she came to, she had this wild urge to clean the house, and she did, and then called the police. She also made a phone call from the waiting room at the hospital. There was physical surveillance being conducted by law enforcement in the area, and investigators learned Piece of Shit snuck out of the hospital and was picked up by an unknown person at the hospital. She was whisked away like a celebrity and then was reunited with her daughter Harley several miles away. Investigators seized the Tiguan from Piece of Shit Grouch on January 29th. The affidavit said possible traces of blood were found on the rear of the vehicle, on a rear passenger seat, a front passenger seat, and an area near the glove box. On January 29, 2020, investigators recovered a piece of carpet from the utility room with possible blood stains. The recovery of this carpet tends to further support the positive alerts from the Blue Star reagent in the utility room. The Metro Crime Lab reported the substance tested presumptively positive for the presence of blood, but was unable to develop a DNA profile. On January 29, 2020, investigators found in the dishwasher multiple carpet brushes with suspected carpet fibers on them, and the dishwasher appeared to have been run. Investigators believe these brushes were used to clean up the murder scene. To be clear, no formal testing was completed to confirm the fibers on the brushes were carpet. Investigators were able to recover internet search history that was deleted from Piece of Shit's phone. No time and date association was located with the data, and I can only ascertain that the searches were conducted prior to the El Paso Sheriff's Office seizing Criminality's phone on January 29, 2020. Some of the deleted search terms included travel planning, shopping, job searches, and other seemingly innocent activity. I have not purposely left out any particular search that would be exculpatory in nature, and I am not intending to portray all of Instability's deleted searches were nefarious in nature. Unknown time. The arrest affidavit states, I have reviewed forensic search records from Criminality's phone. Of course, that's me with these T names for our good friend T. Criminality's phone, and found she is an active user of social media, including but not limited to Facebook and Instagram. A more detailed review of Abnormality's iPhone screen time log between January 25th, 2020 at 8 a.m. and January 29th, 2020 at 11 a.m. revealed that Productivity spent approximately 10.7 hours on Facebook and Facebook Messenger alone, being a fake-ass liar bitch. I remember when she was all over damn Facebook, making an ass of herself and making all of these fake accounts, trying to be her own friend and, vouching for herself and shit like that. Dumb bitch. It was damn pathetic, actually. Unknown time. On January 29th, 2020, investigators recovered a piece of carpet from the utility room with possible blood stains. This was, of course, at the Stauch residence. The recovery of this carpet tends to further support the positive alerts from the Blue Star reagent in the utility room. The Metro Crime Lab reported the substance tested presumptively positive for the presence of blood, but was unable to develop a DNA profile. On January 29, 2020, investigators found in the dishwasher multiple carpet brushes with suspected carpet fibers on them, and the dishwasher appeared to have been run. Investigators believe these brushes were used to clean up the murder scene. To be clear, no formal testing was completed to confirm the fibers on the brushes were carpet. Investigators also located an empty gallon-sized container of vinegar within the residence. Mr. Stauch believed there was approximately half of the container left before he left for Oklahoma on January 25th, 2020. And of course, additional vinegar was purchased on January 27th, 2020. Unknown time, the rented Altima. Silver Nissan Altima rental car obtained by Letecia's aunt Brenda acquired and utilized by Letecia Stauch from January 30th through February 1st, 2020, after her Tiguan was seized by El Paso Sheriff's Office on January 29th, 2020. In summary, investigators believe authority utilized the rented Nissan Altima to return to the area in which she disposed of Gannon's body, Highway 5 and South Perry Park Road in Douglas County, Colorado. Indeed, investigators recovered a piece of particle board from this area with Gannon's blood on it. after El Paso Sheriff's Office investigators seized piece of shit's Volkswagen Tiguan on January 29th, she obtained the 2020 Nissan Altima. Investigators applied for and were granted a search warrant by court to install a GPS tracker on this vehicle. Investigators monitored this tracking device, which provided particularly useful information. On January 31st, 2020, a map with some of this data is included. This information relates to the area north of Palmer Lake and along Highway 105 and South Perry Park Road in Douglas County, Colorado. 2:15 p.m. Piece of shit texts Nicole, who is the homeowner of their rental home. Piece of shit said, "When we came back inside from the smoke, there was blood on both of us. I didn't know what to do. I was scared I would get fussed out about it, and I don't know if he should go to the doctor. I kept trying to add the candle thing, but Albert kept saying it was small and minor. I was scared the basement was smoky, and when I threw the cover, everything we both had blood." End quote. Raise your hand if you know what the hell she's talking about, please. And then again, in a separate text, she said, "You don't understand how it is to be a stepmom." In the last statement, "I was scared the basement was smoky, and when I threw the cover, everything we both had blood." So, I don't know what that means. I don't think anybody does. Also on this day, at an unknown time, hundreds of people gathered for a prayer vigil at Restoration Church. Pastor Andy Davenport says people describe Gannon as, quote, "a smiling kid, a happy kid who just wants to come and hang out and have a good time," end quote. I have a news story of that I'll play at the end of this video. More prominent signage was erected at the memorial already in place in the Lorson Ranch neighborhood where Gannon lived. Friends and neighbors installed the words "Pray for Gannon" at the corner of Mark Shuffle and Fontaine. Tributes of blue flowers and pinwheels began stacking up shortly after Gannon's disappearance. Approximately 200 volunteers searched nearby neighborhoods in a field for Gannon. Sergeant Deborah Myant of El Paso County Sheriff's Office told the public that Gannon had been added to the FBI National Crime Information Center database. Myant also added no one had been named a suspect in the case, and they did not suspect foul play, although the major crimes detectives with El Paso Sheriff's Office took over the case on that day. And enough is enough. I'm running on empty, guys. I'm on my last legs. I'm at the end of my rope. I'm dog tired. Stick a fork in me. I have nothing further to add, no more to say. I'm weary. I'm tired to the bone. I'm so fucking done. I rest my case. Bye, Letecia. And of course I'm kidding. I'm being overly dramatic. Well, maybe not. But that will be the end of this video, and I will pick up with Thursday, January 30th, 2020 in the next video. Much love and peace. Thank you for listening.
Breaking right now at 6, the search continues for a missing 11-year-old boy in Colorado Springs.
Gannon Stauch has not been seen since Monday afternoon. News 5's Katie Blaze tracking the story. She's live at Restoration Church, where a prayer vigil just about to get underway. Katie.
Yeah, guys, that's right. I'm told that prayer vigil starts here at 6:30 tonight. A lot of people already showing up for that, and it's just one of many community efforts to support the Stauch family. Now, right now, there's not a whole lot of new information on where Gannon might be, but the community not giving up. Starting this morning at about 8, hundreds of people came together in the Lorson Ranch neighborhood to help search for the young boy, taking time off of work and school to lend a hand to the Stauch family. I'm told people who don't even know the family are trying to do their part to help one of their own.
There's just a lot of people that just want to find this little boy, and anything we can do, we're going to do it.
Neighbors say everyone is hoping for the best and that Gannon comes home soon. Again, that prayer vigil starts here tonight at Restoration Church at 6:30. Gannon's dad invites anyone who'd like to attend and say a prayer for his son. We'll have much more on the vigil and the search coming up tonight on News 5 at 10. Always watching out for you, El Paso County. Katie Blaze, News 5.
Katie, thanks. The El Paso County Sheriff's Office confirming late this afternoon their major crimes unit now leading that investigation to find the 11-year-old boy.
As Chief Investigative Reporter Eric Ross explains, 48 hours later, sheriff's deputies are no closer to solving this case.
Good evening. The El Paso County Sheriff's Office is treating Gannon Stauch's case as a runaway and nothing more than that at this hour. Now, you may be wondering why a major crimes unit would get involved in this case if foul play was not suspected. Well, here's the deal. A spokesperson for the sheriff's office said unlike patrol deputies who have to move on to other cases and respond to other calls, major crimes deputies can focus more time on one specific case such as this. They also took into account other factors like the child's age and cold weather, which could pose health risks if Gannon is outdoors for an extended period of time. Now, we can confirm the major crimes unit took over this investigation yesterday morning around 11 a.m. We're told about 5 officers are actively working this case. Now, back out here outside the sheriff's office, they are encouraging anyone who may have seen anything out of the ordinary to give them a call. Always watching out for you, El Paso County. Eric Ross, News 5.